Today we will study about the cell. As the heading is given, the cell unit of life. Cell is the unit of life means every living organism is made up of a small units called cell. Like you see, a building is made up of a small units, that is the bricks piled over each other. Similarly, the cell is the unit of every living organism. Whatever may be the size of the organism, it is the number of cells that makes it a small or big. Now, the cell which starts the life is now known as the study of cell. A study of cell, its structure and function is known as or studied in cell biology, also known as cytology. That is the study of the branch of biology which deals with the study of cell, its structure and function is known as cytology or cell biology. Now, the cell will be, since it is the unit of life, it is cell that it is the smallest unit of a living organism, of body of a living organism, organism capable of independent existence and performing the essential functions of life. So, if we have to say what is the cell, then we can say the structural and functional unit of life is the cell. That is, we write here a cell is the structural and functional unit of living organism, or that is the structural and functional unit of life. Cell is very small in size. We cannot see it with our naked eyes. Its size is in the order of micrometer, that is micron. We can say micron, 10 to the power minus 6 meter. Now, since it cannot be seen with our naked eyes, so in early days, the study of cell, or that is the structure and function of cell, was not known to human being or us. Now, when gradually the microscope, micro means a small, scope means vision, that is the devices were discovered which were used to see a small objects, a small entities, and then it was known as microscope. Now, from the beginning, there was the first microscope was discovered, that is the microscopes. The first discovery was made by, this is a simple microscope. It was discovered by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. In this simple microscope, it uses a single convex lens. Convex lens. It uses a single convex lens, and its magnifying power was 200 times. Means when a very small object like cell is placed on a glass slide and seen with the help of simple microscope, then its bigger image is seen by us. Its magnifying power is 200 times. But still it was very small to study the structure. Then there was another type of microscope called compound microscope. Compound microscope. It was discovered by Robert Hooke. Now, many types in many designs with some modifications, many compound microscopes were constructed. The modern compound microscope is actually the modified form of the initial microscope made by Robert Hooke. In this, it uses two convex lenses to magnify the small object. Now in this type of microscope, the object, very small object, is kept on a glass slide and placed on a platform. Now at the bottom, with the help of a plain glass mirror, the source of light, that is the beam of light, is bent to pass through the microscope, through the slide, and then with the help of lenses placed in a common tube, it is magnified twice. So two convex lenses were used. Further, it uses beam of light. It uses beam of light to bend, to be bent and refracted by glass lenses. Now next point, its magnifying power was 2000 times, means that is the 10 times bigger than that magnified by the simple microscope. Students, the cell studied by Robert Hooke was a cork cell. He studied a very thin slice of cork under his microscope and observed that it has many empty box-like structures. He recalled that in monastery there are the small compartments, that is called cell for the monks. Since in the cork there was empty box-like structure similar to that, so Robert Hooke also called these boxes as cells. Since the cork cell was dead cell, so it appeared only like empty box. Clear, student? Now, so the study further became easier, the structure further became visible, but still it was smaller. The internal components of the cell was not clearly visible, was not able to be studied properly. The internal components, the cell organelles, and the composition of cell was studied later on with discovery of electron microscope in 1931. Now, so The third one is electron microscope. Electron microscope. It was discovered by Max Knoll and Ernst Ruska, commonly known as Knoll and Ruska. So electron microscope was discovered by Knoll and Ruska. Here in compound microscope, the beam of light was bent with the help of a glass lens. Compound microscope uses the beam of light, but here it uses electron beam and bent by magnet. That is, it was bent in magnetic field. Now further, one more important for comparison, that is its magnifying power was 2 lakhs times. That is, now you see, in comparison with respect to simple microscope, compound microscope magnifies 10 times more, that is 200 to 2000, and it is further magnifying more 10 times, that is 2 lakhs, 2000 to, sorry, this time it is 100 times more. So now the internal structure of the cell became easier to be studied. Now here we see a student, that is, after studying all these things, that is furthermore discovery, scientists gave us about the idea of cell. Now what was it? Now we see that now the heading is cell theory. Cell theory. In the beginning, it was Matthias Escleden who told that every plant is made up of a small units called cell. Later on, it was Theodor Swan who told that animals are made up of units called cell. And they together put forward called cell theory. Later on, it was the Rudolf Virchow which added the another point to cell theory, that is, the every living organism starts its life from single cell, or every cell arises from pre-existing cell. So it was Matthias Escleden. Matthias Escleden told that every plant is made up of a small unit called cell. Now further, it was Theodor Swan told that every animal is made up of cell, a small unit called cell. Now here we see that Rudolf Virchow, the another scientist, Rudolf Virchow, added the another point and told that told that every cell arises from pre-existing cell. Arises from pre-existing cell. So together, if we study the main points of cell theory, then it says that cell is the structural unit of life. That is living organism. Second, cell is the functional unit of life. That is, every living organism has a cell which perform its individual function. Third, every cell arises from pre-existing cell. One more point can be added to it also, that is, every organism starts its life from a single cell. That is, whatever may be the size of living organism, whether it is having few cells or millions cells, that is multicellular organism, every organism starts its life from a single cell. Like you see, for example, even we are complex organism, higher organism, but we also starts our life from a single cell, zygote. And due to multiple division in it, the number of cells increases, and as a result our size gradually increases. So every living organism starts its life from a single cell. So these were the main points of cell theory. Now, students, we study about the different things related to cell. That is, about the size of the cell, about the number of the cell, about the different shapes of the cell. So, if we'll study first number of cell. Now we see that an organism may be unicellular, few-celled, or having many cells, having millions of cells. Like you see, suppose we write unicellular. There may be some examples like bacteria, yeast, amoeba, etc. These are single cell. As we have studied earlier, that cell is the structural and functional unit of life. So even a single cell will perform all its life activities. Like in case of amoeba, this is a single celled organism. It will perform all life processes like nutrition, digestion, respiration, excretion, reproduction, and all of them. So it forms an organism, as well as this single cell perform all life processes. So it is a structural and functional unit of life. Now, few celled. Now there may be a spirogyra, volvox, algae, etc. Few cells. Like this is a kind of a stripe of cells. Similarly, these are living organisms in which there are few cells in their body. Now then, multicellular or having very large number of cell, very large number of cell. All higher organism, whether it is plant or animal, will have very large number of cells, that is millions of millions. Like suppose frog. Now suppose we take another plants, man, etc. All of them are higher organisms having very large number of cells. So this is about the number of cell. Now the next point, that is about that is about the number of cells, and then it is the size of cell. The cells may be smaller or bigger, but normally cells are smaller in size in order to facilitate its function. We will study further more. Like the smallest cell, just we remember, that is among all living organisms, the smallest cell is of mycoplasma. That is, it is PPLO in full form. It is pleuro pneumonia like organism. This is the smallest cell. But suppose you have to answer, that is, what is the smallest cell in human body? The smallest cell in human body, it is RBC, red blood cells. So among all the living organisms, the smallest cell is mycoplasma, PPLO, and the smallest cell in human is RBC. Clear, student? Now here you see again, that is the longest cell. It is neuron or nerve cell. It is found in animals only, not in plants. Animals. It is the longest cell. It is meant for transmission of nerve impulse, transmission of informations, messages from one part of the body to another part. It is branched, distributing in larger area. Now further, the largest cell, that is an egg cell of ostrich, which is a kind of bird. Now its egg, as you know, egg is a single cell, it is the gamete. Now the egg of ostrich is the largest cell. So according to the size, we have studied these 3 points. Now here one more point has to be studied about this topic, this point. And what is it? What is the significance of a small size of cell? So significance of a small size of cell. Actually, due to a smaller size, in the given space, in the given volume, larger number of cells will be present. So actually it increases surface area volume ratio, surface area volume ratio, which helps in and now what are these? First, absorption of nutrient, diffusion of respiratory gases. Now easy repair and replacement of cells, etc. So if the size of the cell is very small, in that case it will be easy to absorb, to distribute the different substances from one cell to another cell due to larger surface area, larger absorption, larger transportation, larger diffusion can easily take place. So this is helpful for the organism due to a smaller size of the cell. Now students, then there is third point, that is the shape of cell. Shape of cell. According to the function, according to its position, the place where it is used or it is useful, the cells are of different shapes and sizes. Like in plants, where the storage of food has to take place, there is a soft part of the plant, there are cells having larger intercellular space, smaller cells. Now in growing part there is thin walled cells. Similarly in animals, like you see, the shape of the cell, like you see, that is RBC is biconcave to provide large surface area for transport of oxygen. Similarly you see, that is in this case further we know that WBC is irregular amoeboid to squeeze out from blood capillary. That is, as we know, WBC is the cell in the living organism, that is in the blood, which is capable of killing the germs. So WBC squeeze out by making pseudopodia through its wall, and when squeeze out it will be capable of killing the germs. Now similarly epithelial cells may be flat, glandular, ciliated, and so on. So just we see, that is in order to perform its individual function, proper function, helping in the individual organism's life or life process, the cells are of different shapes. Clear student?